Not all that glitters on Instagram is marriage material. Sometimes it's just ring light and vibes. Anyway, let me not rush. Let's take it slowly and dive right into this very lesson-filled yummy story. Some time ago, in the mad vibrant city of Lagos, Nigeria, there lived a man named Batlomi Chijoke Nnaji, aka Bato to his friends and Batty Boy to his mother. He was a 37-year-old Lagos-based product designer with a decent job at a tech startup in Yaba. He was born and raised in Enugu by a retired headmaster and a prayerful mother who still tied wrapper and shouted Holy Ghost fire in her sleep. Bato grew up disciplined, book smart, and painfully cautious. He graduated from UNN with a degree in computer science. But what he really majored in was introversion and heartbreak. Life hadn't been exactly sweet in the romance department. One ex collected his TV and never returned it. Another left him on Valentine's Day with the legendary line of, "It's not you, it's me. You are a good person, but my spirit doesn't align with yours." Rather. At 37, he had finally settled into a quiet, calculated life. Wake up, go to work, attend one church program on Zoom, eat rice, sleep, rinse, and repeat. He wasn't ugly, he was just, regular. He had that he go dey grow on you type of face. He was bearded, soft-spoken, with a humble pot belly that only came out when he sat down. Deep inside, Bato longed for companionship, not just with any woman, but with a woman that would shake the group chat. Someone his friends would see and say, "My guy, you carry eye enter market though." But Lagos dating was a landmine. Between the slay queens asking for iPhones and the firebrand sisters who wanted prayer warriors as partners, Bato was exhausted. So, one faithful Friday night, while eating shawarma and mindlessly scrolling through Instagram Explore, he saw her, Gina Ogene. Her picture slapped him through the screen. She was seated on the edge of a balcony in Dubai, with her legs crossed like confidence itself. Her skin so smooth it looked like it was edited by angels. The caption said, "Soft life or nothing. My peace is expensive." Bato blinked, then blinked again. His heart began to sing that sweet high life tune. "This kind woman no dey market again o." He clicked on her profile. That was his first mistake. It was a gallery of glamour. Gina on a yacht, holding coconut water. Gina in a studio, with a face beat so flawless it could win elections. Gina doing "Get Ready With Me" reels in slow motion. Her voice soft like sponge cake. She had over 87k followers, and she called herself a lifestyle influencer, skincare lover, and travel junkie. And her pin story said, "If you're not spoiling me, please step aside." Bato sat up and said, "God, is this a test? Because I am ready to pass." He didn't think twice though. He entered her DM straight like an excited goat. "Hey beautiful," with an emoji. To his surprise, she replied within 20 minutes. "Hi dear." From that night, conversation flowed like small chops at a wedding. They started chatting regularly. Then came voice notes. Oh, her voice was angelic. She always sounded like someone lying on satin bed sheets, even when she said she was just waking up. Batho was enchanted. Before long, he started sending small tokens here and there. 15k for data, 30k for her dog's vet bill, 50k just to spoil her. Nothing else. By the end of the second month, his bank account was calling for help. His friend Chuka noticed the red flags. Guy, have you seen this babe in real life? Bro, true love isn't always physical now, Batho replied. It's deeper than that. It's spiritual. And so they started dating. They started hanging out here and there, having dates, and seeing each other more often. But there was never a sleepover. By the 6th month, Batho booked a table at Terra Culture and proposed publicly, flamboyantly, and foolishly. Gina acted shocked, holding her chest, shaking her head, and even kneeling to say, "Yes, my love, I'll marry you." Instagram bloggers reposted it. TikTok was on fire. The hashtag GinaBat2023 trended for 2 days. Wedding plans kicked off almost immediately. Everything was happening so fast. The traditional wedding was held in Warri, Gina's place. She wore 3 outfits. Each one was tighter than the last. Batho danced like somebody chasing generational curses away. Gina's mother kept shouting, "My daughter, you look good." The church wedding was pure cinema. Gina's corset was so tight, she whispered, "I do," through clenched teeth. The crowd was screaming, "Couple goals," even though both of them had never spent 24 hours together. Basel hadn't even seen Gina without lashes. Every time she visited, there was one excuse or the other that always made Gina refuse to sleep over. I'm not feeling so well. I have work tomorrow. I have to head home. I have a meeting. I have a shoot. I have this one in early morning. Just tons and tons of excuses that would make her not to sleep over. Batho, on his part, didn't really read meaning into it. He consoled himself with faith and said, "Love is trust. Besides, we'll see everything during honeymoon, Abi. She's not running away." And of course, whenever they met, she was on her full glam. So, the wedding night finally arrived. That night, Batho took his bath, brushed his teeth twice, sprayed perfume till the room smelled like romance itself. And then he looked in the mirror and gave himself a firm nod. "You are a man. You have waited. You have paid bride price. Go and claim your blessing." Batho stepped out of the bathroom, freshly bathed and shining like a well-oiled plantain. His boxers were tight and his chest was puffed up. His wedding ring was shining. He was ready to collect his divine reward. This was the night, the long-awaited night. The two shall become one night. For months he had dreamed of this moment. Just him and Gina. No more distance, no more WhatsApp calls, no more rushing. The time she used to visit, they used to spend time together, yes, but she never slept over. So he turned off the bathroom light, humming a tune as he stepped into the bedroom. And then he stopped. Then he reversed. Then he poked his head back in, blinking in shock. What he saw sitting on that bed was definitely not Gina. It wasn't the Gina he proposed to, and it wasn't the Gina from the wedding that morning. This particular Gina was sitting on the bed, cross-legged, tying a wrapper like Mama Chikodi from their compound in Enugu. Her face was bare. No brows, no lashes, no makeup. And to top it off, her wig was hanging on the mirror like a ghost waiting for deliverance. One eyebrow was half cleaned. The other one had surrendered completely. Her stomach was no longer flat. They were now soft and full. As he stood at the door, lost in thoughts and analyzing all these things in a couple of minutes, his breath was suddenly tight. And that was when she looked up. What is it? She asked casually. You just stand there like mannequin. Close the door. Basel quickly shut the door like a man locking out demons. Sorry, I thought, she looked up and asked, you thought what? He smiled and said, nothing. You look, relaxed. I better come and lie down, Joe. I'm tired. Basil's legs moved, but his soul remained rooted in confusion. He lay beside her stiffly, unsure of what to do with his arms or his face. The room was quiet, except for the AC that was humming. Gina turned her back to him and started scrolling mindlessly on her phone, with her wrapper still tied tightly around her chest. Basil stared at the ceiling. This was definitely not how he imagined it. Where was the candlelit seduction? Where was the silk nightwear? Where was the come here, baby? Instead, he got, please turn off the light and help me adjust that pillow behind you. My back dey pain me small. But sleep refused to come. At midnight, Basil tiptoed back into the bathroom, shut the door, turned on the lights and stared at himself in the mirror. His reflection looked back at him as if it owed him answers. Then he whispered, you can do this. It's just wrapper. It's just wrapper now. Just eyebrows, just new packaging. Look beyond it. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not only physical. Yeah, close your eyes if necessary. He took a deep breath and continued. She's your wife. You paid bride price. God is watching you. This is a sacred union. That night, you guessed right. He didn't touch her. He just laid stiff like a log of firewood, whispering scriptures and words of affirmations in his heart. Thankfully, Gina didn't even complain. She turned and slept soundly and even snored lightly. But Basil was in spiritual warfare. The next few days were a blur of silent adjustments. During breakfast at the hotel, Gina came out wearing a loose t-shirt and her natural hair packed in a struggle bun. Basil complimented her weakly, saying, you look comfortable. She smiled and said casually, thank God for makeup. Without it, I know I look like my late uncle. Kai! Basil laughed awkwardly, but deep down, his spirit was weeping. That night, he entered the bathroom again, closed the door and faced the mirror. You are a good man. You are not shallow. Beauty fades. It is inner beauty that lasts forever. God is just testing your character. Make sure you pass this test. And so, the pep talks became a routine. Day 3, he went in again. Focus on her kindness and her spirit. Her wrapper is not your enemy. Day 4, at least she cooks. Not every wife cooks now. You will adjust, You've adjusted many times. Day 5, guy, think of Beyonce or Rihanna. You're just wasting time, You're just wasting time. This is day 5 of your wedding and you've not even done anything. Pretend it's a long distance call. Close your eyes. Just focus on the sound and not the signal. And this continued. But the truth is, the tension kept growing. Not just physically, but emotionally. Basil was confused, disappointed, and silently ashamed of himself. He felt guilty for struggling. Was he being shallow and ungrateful? Yet, the truth was, he didn't feel chemistry at all. He felt concern. But still, he played the role. He laughed when she made jokes and kissed her cheek when necessary. He held her hand in public. But at night, That is where church dismissed. Before entering bed, he would take 5 minutes alone to breathe, to pray, and to encourage himself in the mirror. He didn't want to talk about it. At least, not yet. Not until he understood what was happening to his own heart. All he knew was this wasn't what he ordered at all, and he had no return receipt. When you marry packaging, unboxing can cause fever. Barthel's soul was tired. He was even starting to develop fever. It had been 11 days since the wedding, 11 nights of motivational speaking, 11 mornings of pretending everything was fine, 11 unholy moments of brushing his teeth beside a woman who didn't look like the Gina of his dreams, but had legally become his wife. So, she go nowhere. Gina, to be fair, wasn't doing anything wrong. She was actually trying her best and being the best wife she could. She cooked, she cleaned, she even washed his underwear once, though she complained loudly about the elastic being too weak and the fabric smelling like ancestral sweat. Then she even posted on Instagram one afternoon with the caption, "My whole world." Hashtag hobby goals. Hashtag forever thing. Basel nearly dropped his phone when he saw it. The picture she used was one he didn't approve. His face looked like he was catching sneeze and stroke at the same time. He wanted to comment, "Oh world ke," but he decided to respect his elders and his new in-laws. From the hotel, they had moved into his 2-bedroom apartment in Ogodu, where he had proudly furnished himself. Simple but neat. But Gina didn't like the curtains. And now she has a right to say so because it is her house as well. They look like primary school graduation gown, she had said. But Barthel laughed it off awkwardly. Each day, Barthel would go to work and overwork himself just to avoid coming home too early. He would sit in his car for extra 30 minutes when he returned, staring at the compound gate like a man awaiting trial. And every night, before crawling into bed beside Gina, he performed his new ritual, his mirror pep talk. The funny thing was that these pep talks had evolved. He was now charging himself. On one occasion, Barthel stood in the bathroom, holding the sink tightly like he was helping him stabilize his destiny. He then stared deep into his reflection and started, "Listen to me, Bartholomew. You are not a weak man. You have faced NEPA. You have survived SARS. You have faced Nigerian police. You even graduated 4 years in UNN. This is chicken change. This is marriage. Nobody said it was going to be easy now. But love is more than looks. It is commitment. It is sacrifice. You are sacrificing your peace for companionship. And that, my guy, that is a noble cause." From outside the door, Gina's voice broke his thoughts. "Barthel, abeg o, I hope you're not sleeping in the toilet again today." He quickly flushed the toilet, pretending that something serious was going on. "No, baby, I'll be right out." One other night, as Barthel tiptoed into the room after one of his bathroom episodes, he stepped on something soft and furry, and then he screamed. It turned out it was Gina's favorite wig. "What is your problem now?" she shouted, switching on the light. "You just stepped on my most expensive hair." "Sorry, I thought it was... Sorry now, I thought it was a dead cat." But Gina hissed and said, "It's raw Brazilian, Bato. Do you know how much I bought it? Please, you better be careful next time." Bato bent down like a repentant goat and picked it gently. "Sorry, Madame Brazil." That particular night, he lay with one eye open, staring at the wig on the dresser that almost traumatized him. Another night, Bato decided to try, at least, Na man you be now. Try. He told himself maybe it was just mental block. Maybe if he pushed past the initial shock, he would find the attraction again. And so, he made an effort. He started by taking Gina out for ice cream. He held her hand at ShopRite, all the while through shopping, while making dry jokes. Then after, he helped her take pictures with proper angles. Later that night, he wore his best boxers, rubbed lotion and oil. Then he played soft jazz on his phone. Meanwhile, Gina was in a good mood too, scrolling away on Instagram, laughing loudly. Then he reached for her waist and she shifted slightly. He proceeded to kissing her shoulder. Then she laughed and said, "Basel, your beard is pricking me." He paused immediately and asked, "Do you want me to shave it?" "No, just angle it better. Don't let it poke my soul, Biko." Basel exhaled and tried to continue. See, they tried though, but the mood collapsed and they stopped. He ended up lying back and facing the ceiling, and his ego dragging itself into a small hole. In the midnight, at around 2 a.m., he kept tossing and turning. He couldn't sleep, so he went back to his favorite abode in the house, the bathroom. He faced the mirror again and started. "See, you are not impotent. You are just confused. You are not shallow. You are just startled. It will pass. Everything passes, especially tough times." Before long, it was morning, and that morning, they had an argument. Gina said Batho didn't look into her eyes anymore, that he behaved like someone paying rent in the marriage. "Do you even like me?" she asked. "Of course I do." He lied. "Then why don't you touch me like you used to when we were dating? And what was that happened last night?" Batho didn't even have the heart to say it the way it is. And so he said, "Work stress, baby. You know this tech market is draining. I just haven't been myself since." Gina then softened a little and they made up with a side hug. And that was it. As he returned from work that evening, Basel greeted his neighbor's wife, who was watering the flowers outside. She was plump. Her face was plain and filled with sweat. She was wearing a simple gown with flip-flops. But the way her husband came outside to hold her waist and kiss her forehead like it was their honeymoon made Batho feel really small. That night, he entered the bathroom as usual and whispered to the mirror, "So it's not just about looks. That woman is she's not even Gina, but her husband is worshipping her." That night, he looked at Gina as she dozed off beside him, with her mouth slightly open and her hair bonnet sliding both ways. She snored softly as usual, like a kitten that had seen war. He then covered her with blankets and turned off the light and went to bed. Batho was beginning to realize something. He realized that if he had any hope of building this marriage, he would need to face more than the mirror. He would need to face Gina. It was almost a month after their wedding, and nothing was getting better in this union. In fact, the tension was getting way worse. Batho no longer gave pep talks in front of the mirror. He just stood there now, quiet, with his arms folded and his head slightly bowed, like a man asking his reflection for small understanding. He had stopped reaching out to Gina entirely, or even making any advances whatsoever at night. Gina too had stopped throwing playful glances at him. They just existed, side by side, like two strangers sharing a mattress on a long bus ride to nowhere. The worst part was that nobody was saying anything. They were posting online, oh yes, the Instagram life was sweet. Love the sweet for Instagram. They posted old couple selfies, wedding throwback pictures, and funny TikTok videos. Even Batho's caption game had improved. On one of their pictures, he had posted and captioned it, "Life is sweeter when she's by your side." Hashtag my person. Hashtag God did. Meanwhile, in real life, hashtag my person hadn't even looked him in the eye in 3 days. So one day, they decided to be adults. Rain had just started drizzling. The compound smelled like wet sand and plantain peels. Basel was in the kitchen preparing indomie with extra pepper. Gina came in. She was barefoot and her hair was packed into a struggling pineapple bun as usual. She was holding her phone and a charger. She went straight to the socket, plugged her phone, then looked at him briefly and looked away. "Do we have suya spice?" she asked. "Yes, check the second cabinet," he replied flatly. She opened it, brought it out, dropped it on the counter, and then closed back the drawer. She then walked to the dining area and sat down. There was still silence. Baso stirred the indomie with unnecessary violence and aggression. So Gina then took a deep breath and asked, "Baso, what are we doing?" He paused and replied, Cooking." "Not that. I meant us," she said softly. Aha! On hearing that part, Baso turned off the gas and leaned on the counter. Honestly, Gina, I don't know. I don't know what we are doing." Gina swallowed hard and continued. "You don't touch me anymore. You don't even talk to me anymore. This feels so awkward." Both of them stood there, still, raw, and stripped of any filters whatsoever. Finally, Baso came closer and faced her properly. "Gina, I'm sorry. I think I've just been struggling with expectations." She laughed bitterly and asked, "What? You expected a Disney princess?" "No, I mean, not exactly. Okay, just wait. Let me pull it up. Oh yeah, look. Online, you looked like one thing. In real life too, when you want to, you look bomb. But then, since we got married, you stopped making any effort to look that way. So it just felt different, and I didn't know how to react." She nodded slowly and said, "Well, at least you're honest." Then she looked up and asked, "Can I be honest too?" Batho nodded. "Batho, the day you proposed to me, I almost ran." His eyes widened. "Wait, what? Why?" She folded her arms across her chest and sighed. "Yes, because I was managing you too. Yes, that beard. Oh, that beard you flaunted in those pictures. It was clearly drawn and edited. And the gym photos. From how many years ago, Batho? The one where you stood beside the car. You posted it 3 times. Then you cropped off the background each time so that it would look like new images." Batho was stunned. He stood there looking stupid. But Gina continued. "Your voice notes sounded confident, smooth. But however, in real life, you barely talk, you whisper, and you fumble. It's not like the guy that had real game. It's more like this is someone else. I told my cousin, if I don't like him after 1 month, I will back out quietly. But then the wedding plan started, and before I knew it, I was inside. Everything happened so fast." Otto looked down. His chest was beating loudly now. This was a moment he had dreaded. They stared at each other like two children who had spoiled something in the house. "So," Otto managed to start, "you mean this whole time you have been struggling too?" She nodded and said, "Yes." Every night I give myself motivational talks before entering the bed. Batho's eyes nearly left his sockets. You too? Gina burst out laughing. A soft, shaky, but real laugh. Yes, nah. I go to the mirror and I tell myself, it's just for a while. You chose this man, oh. You're not a failure. Just think of something else. Think of Idris Elba and close your eyes. Batho covered his face in shame. They both sat there in silence. Then laughter bubbled up again, and they both laughed in a way that says, oh, finally got that off my chest. And that laughter filled the room like healing balm. So they had been managing each other like two fraudulent sellers in Balogun market, both forming original while selling second-hand. Later that night, they lay side by side, and for the first time in days, they really felt connected. Basel turned to her and asked, so what now? Gina looked at the ceiling and said, I don't know, but I think maybe we should stop pretending. We should drop the expectations and face our reality. You know? He nodded slowly and said, let's start again. This time for real, without filters. Just two imperfect humans learning and willing to fall in love with each other. She turned to face him and then said, okay, I can do that. So, just to be clear, you don't think I'm sexy? Batho asked while smiling. She laughed and said, I think you're alright. If I look at you fast. He chuckled. Fair enough. Then they both burst out laughing again. That night, they cuddled and slept with smiles on their faces. Batho woke up that morning with a strange feeling. Peace. He felt the soft, kind and quiet type of peace in his heart. The type that comes when you finally admit the truth. Gina was still sleeping beside him, with her mouth open and one leg stretched across his thigh like a protective lizard. Her bonnet had disappeared again. Her natural hair puffed out like confused cotton wool. And yet, for the first time, Basel looked at her and smiled. Then she turned, opened her eye halfway and said, is it morning already? It is, he replied. And you look like you fought two dreams and won one. She laughed groggily and slapped his chest. Go away, Joe, clown. That morning, they moved differently. Well, nothing major, just small things. Basel didn't stay long in the bathroom mirror. He didn't need to anymore. And when Gina came out of the bedroom without makeup and wearing one of his t-shirts, Basel looked at her and meant it when he said, you are cute like this. Real cute. Like puff puff that just came out of oil. She giggled and said, should I say thank you? Is this even a compliment? Well, thank you. You self, you don't look bad. So now they were teasing each other, not from tension, but from warmth. When it was time for breakfast, they sat down to eat. The food was 2 plates of boiled yam and egg sauce. And then they had their first real conversation since their wedding. So what do we actually want from this marriage? Batho asked, chewing slowly. Peace, Gina replied without hesitation. Joy, laughter and freedom. I want to breathe and not feel the need to perform. I just want to be comfortable. Wow, I hear you, baby. And I feel the same way. I want to build something honest. And I don't want to do it with anyone else but you. She looked up at him and said, okay, but you'll still snap me when I dress nice, Sha, Abby? Of course now, I'm not mad. They laughed again. So, little by little, they started changing things. Together, they bought new bed sheets. And They changed the curtains. They talked more about everything, their fears, their disappointments, their hidden insecurities. Gina confessed how she once cried after their wedding night, not because of Basel, but because she felt like a fraud. All that packaging, she said, and I didn't even know how to be myself again. Me too, Basel replied. Half of the time, I was afraid you would wake up one day and realize I wasn't exciting enough. Ah, who needs excitement? I just want peace, abeg, even if it is boring. Then you married the right man, he said. I am the CEO of Boring Peace International. She laughed so hard food nearly came out of her nose. In the weeks that followed, the tension had completely dissolved and the sex got better, a lot better, and more intimate, just because they relaxed. They stopped acting and started communicating. And there is nothing that brings people closer than having difficult, hard conversations. They started praying together. God, help us to stop pretending. Help us love each other beyond the physical. And let me tell you, it's worked. Bato stopped giving himself mirror pep talks. Gina stopped imagining Idris Elba in her mind at night. They weren't perfect. They still argued about water bills and whose turn it was to do dishes. But now, the love had roots and was growing beautifully. And there you have it, my paddies. The story of two people who had fallen into a fantasy, collided with reality, but decided to stay and make things work. Because at the end of the day, true love begins the day you both remove your masks and decide that this is truly my person and I stay with them for life. The end. Moral lesson. My paddies, I have a hot take on this one. But as usual, feel free to drop your opinions below. Let's discuss further. Some people enter marriage with social media love and camera chemistry, only to wake up beside someone they don't even recognize and start praying silently that rapture should take them first. But let this story teach you one thing. No marriage works by filter. No relationship lasts by pretending. You can catfish each other for 3 months, but real love starts the day both of you look at each other face to face, without makeup, without ego, without six-packs, and still say, I choose you. Love no be cruise oh, no be fine face. It's not fire body, it's not wedding hashtag, it's not the gleams and the glamour. It's early morning smelly breath. It's hot arguments and just two people learning daily how to love someone who annoys them and still deserves their best. So shine your eyes oh. Social media no be real life. And definitely ask yourself, can I love this person with open pores, pot belly, and zero filters? If the answer is yes, then you have won. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching my videos till the very end. You are the real MVP paddy. Thank you so much for your support. And if you've been watching my videos without subscribing, this is me begging you to please hit that subscribe button because subscriptions is important. Please share this video with your friends and family members because trust me, they're going to learn a thing or two. I love you all and I thank you again for your support. Until next time, remember, don't let anyone dim your shine. Ngwanu, bye!